Math.
Everyone, in this video we're going to look at the geometric Sn and its formulas. So the big new formula you're going to learn is this one. Okay, so it looks very intimidating once again, but luckily it's on your formula sheet, so you do not need to memorize it. It's going to be there, you just need to know when to use it. So just like we looked at the arithmetic sequence, everything stayed the same between the t and the Sn. A is still the first term, r is still the constant ratio, n is the position, and Sn is the value or the total of the terms they want you to add together. In this example, they want you to add the first 14 terms. So let's look what we have and what we want. So we don't know what Sn is. We know A is 2. We can see that this actually does not have a D, it actually has an R, okay, because it's a constant ratio. So why do I say it does not have a D? If it had a D, I would say, okay, so 6 minus 2 is 4, but 18 minus 6 is 12. And that's not a constant difference, so that's not going to work. But if I say 6 over 2, that's equal to 3. 18 over 6, that's equal to 3. And 54 over 18 is also equal to 3. So therefore, it definitely has a constant ratio because I'm multiplying by 3 every time. Now I can just sub into the formula and get the sum of the first 14 terms. So S14 is equal to 2, 3 to the power of 14 minus 1 over 3 minus 1. And like I said in the previous videos, you are in grade 12, you do not have to show any calculations between the steps, you can just write the answer. This is quite a big one, 4,782,968. So something you'll notice with geometric sequences, it's either very big or it is very small fractions. Just get used to it. It's not a mistake on your part. The questions or the answers are very big or very small sometimes. Let's look at another one. So in this case, it's going to be a very small fraction answer. So they are asking me to add the first 7 terms of this sequence. So firstly, I don't know what Sn is. I'm going to put a question mark there. I know that A is going to be 3 negative, but R is going to be term 2 divided by term 1. So once again, this does not have a D, it has a R. And R in this case, minus a third. Okay. I can now just add everything up in the formula and let's see what we get. So S7 would be equal to the A value, then R, please use an extra bracket in this case, to the power 7 minus 1 all over minus a third minus 1. My calculator tells me this is not a pretty answer. Over 243. There we go. That's the answer they want. Now let's look at another example. So find the sum of the first 10 terms. I am asked to figure out what is Sn. I can see that A is a half and R is going to be term 2 divided by term 1. Okay, just use your calculator, and this is going to be negative 1 over 4. Okay, so find the sum of the first 10 terms. I now know that n is equal to 10. So I can just sub in. S10 would be equal to a half, and then minus a quarter to the power 10 minus 1 all over minus a quarter minus 1. My calculator tells me another big horrible answer, 209,715 over 524,288. Okay, that's not a mistake, that is the actual real answer to this sum. Okay, now we're getting to a bit more advanced questions. So in an exam, you are going to get a few of these easy sums where you just sub in, but you're also going to get quite a few questions where they are going to ask you to do it backwards, and then the calculations get a bit more tricky. So let's look at one like that. How many terms add up to 819 over 2048? Okay, let's update our list. So now they tell me the answer, 819 over 2048. So I know the value of the first however many terms. I know R is still a quarter, but I do not know what N is. Let's work it out. So I'm going to start by subbing this into the place of Sn. I know the A value. My R value is minus a quarter, minus 1. And this is to the power N because I'm working out how many terms I must add. Okay, so now this is going to test your algebra skills. So let's see how we would solve this question. The first thing I would do is I would add the denominator. So minus a quarter minus 1 would actually give me minus 5 over 4. So I'm going to say 819 over 2048. And because it's in the denominator to the right, I'm going to multiply to get it away. So I'm going to say multiply by minus 5 over 4. Okay, n minus 1. Okay, if I type this in, I am just going to get minus 4095 all over 8192. Now, if I look to the right, that half is bugging me. So to get rid of a half, I can multiply both sides by 2. Or I can just say divided by a half on both sides. Okay, so now my equation is looking a bit more friendly, but it's still a very big equation. So let's look. If I type that in the calculator, I am actually going to get minus 4095 over 4096. And now I have a minus 1 on the right, so I need to take that over as well because the n is my variable that I want to isolate or that I want to get alone. So I'm going to plus 1 on this side. Okay, minus a quarter to the power n. Okay, so just type the left on your calculator and you would see this is then actually 1 over 4096. This is now an exponential equation, so I know I'm going to have to prime base this. So I'm going to say this is minus a quarter to the power 2n. But now I'm going to use this shift fact function on my calculator. Once again, if you do this later in the year, you are going to have to use logs, or you have the option to use logs, which makes the sum a little bit easier. But for now, because it's the start before chapter 2, I'm going to use prime factorization. So if I type 4096 equal shift fact, it's going to tell me this is a half to the power 12. But because the right-hand side had a minus, I am just going to put a minus in the left-hand bracket as well. Okay, because the exponents are all even, the minus really does not matter. It will cancel out because an even exponent cancels out the minus. So now the bases are the same. I can drop the bases, and therefore n would be equal to 6. Perfect. That is the entire question 2. How many terms add up to that number? Okay. Get used to sums that are this long and this intensive. You are going to get at least 1 in your term test or in your exams.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JJ Math.